This is Big Fella, and you are watching the Juneteenth Poetry Jam.
My first memory of learning about Juneteenth was maybe late high school, early college. And I remember just kind of my mom mentioning it, and I'm from Atlanta, and so some people mentioning it.
The first memory I have of Juneteenth is here in Nashville.
I met somebody who grew up in Milwaukee who said their whole life she's been going to Juneteenth festivals. But I grew up in Detroit. We ain't had no Juneteenth festivals. You know, I heard rumors of it and thoughts of it, but I never heard really about it until I came down here. And even once I got to Nashville, it wasn't like a big thing.
I personally didn't know about Juneteenth until about a decade ago, because it was never celebrated here in Nashville or really talked about in local history.
But it didn't really come into my full awareness until later adulthood, and just understanding that it is something that I can reclaim and something that I can enjoy, and that there's always something to learn about me, my family, and the people around me. So.
Back in 2013, myself and the late Dr. Tommy Morton Young were meeting at Fort Negley, and she was a part of a genealogy society. She was saying that we need to do a Juneteenth celebration at Fort Negley. So we got together with the staff at Fort Negley, and June of 2013, we started our first Juneteenth celebration at Fort Negley.
I remember learning and understanding what it meant, and then actually being able to go out and celebrate it for the first time, and it was a good feeling. It was good energy.
So I'm from Washington, D.C., and we were taught Africana Studies in elementary school. So I've always known about the concept of Juneteenth and the story behind it and the history, but I would say the idea of it being a national holiday, I didn't think that would be something I would see in my lifetime.
My name is Gary Burke, and the name of my poem is Emancipation. Emancipation. It was born from a proclamation to bring us out of our degradation, to bring forth a celebration of change. From the shackles of our oppression became a definite impression of hope, destiny, and pain. To get on your knees due to the physical and mental strain. Emancipation brought freedom and hope to a people, for many prayed for it under their church steeple. In the fields with sweat on their brow, you kept the faith and conviction somehow. Your family sometimes sold on the block. Your owners treated you like stock. The embarrassment and the shame, you would never be the same. The president's words would set you free, to give you the chance to see what you could be. A chance for a brand new start, to become American citizens and take your part. Emancipation is something you prayed for, a fate the government could not ignore. You broke the chains of slavery with your eternal bravery to contribute to our land and ultimately take your rightful stand. Emancipation was the answer to your prayers. The restriction and bondage no longer there. We're thankful for an awesome God from whence the fields we trod, making a better way for our generations today. Emancipation now, emancipation tomorrow, emancipation forever.
My name is Newly Made, and the poem that I am sharing with you all today is I Am My Ancestors. A mixture of both space particles and cosmic ash, the original copper skin, feet of brass, hair of wool, Jesus black. On Sundays, we took the scraps and made soul food. Before that, we built pyramids to measure the stars. They forget to mention our names and call us everything but who we are. So we take pain and create genres, make mantras about overcoming, had to hit the ground running, learn to speak in symphonies. Now we lift every voice and sing psalms, those songs that shift frequencies frequently. I find myself traveling through wrinkles in time. Reincarnation got me living out life through past lives like I'm the warrior spirit in you, ready to wake. To the ones who fought back and lost their lives but never lost faith, I am fate, what they prayed for, made up of all the things they couldn't see. I am my ancestors' wildest dream, your true nature. I am balance, I am wise, the strength on your return back to greatness. I am your guide.
Well, I think the significance of it becoming a national holiday is to make all Americans be aware of the meaning of Juneteenth and what that did for our people. And as an African American, it's very important for all of our nation to observe this act of freedom for Galveston, Texan residents. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 was able to free African Americans in rebellious states, Galveston and Juneteenth on June 19th was helped to free another people.
Personally, what it means becoming a national holiday, since we were celebrating it before its holidayism, it's like most things, it's good and bad and weird, you know. The good part about it is that it just gets more support and there's more eyeballs on it. It's got more legs because it's a bigger, broader thing.
The external validation of like, wow, like this is important and this is significant does kind of put that reality stamp on it in a way that sometimes history gets erased and you hear a lot of stories being orated as a Black and brown person, and so it's interesting to have it like stamped in history.
I think it is important that it recognizes it in that way because I see the impact of it since it has become a national holiday. One example that I can definitely call out for real is in my corporate job, I now have that day off. Like, I used to have to use PTO to not work on Juneteenth, but it is recognized as a paid holiday in my corporation. That is something I thought would never see done, even fathom.
Any recognition, acknowledgement of America's weird, twisted past by the Americans, I think is a step forward, because you can't move forward without knowing where you came from. You know, you don't know how to fix it, you don't know what to do.
I think that it's a good start, you know, being able to recognize and celebrate and really examine the history that we have encountered and built here in this country. I think it's important to, one, share that and acknowledge it, and then two, have that in mind as we move forward.
But within myself, I've had to learn to be excited, to be happy, and to be proud of the things that are happening within my community or have happened, and to do that personal research and learning for myself so that I don't have to rely on the country or the federal government to like say, okay, this is important, this does matter, especially when, you know, things are ebbs and flowing all the time.
I like any opportunity for people to come together and be on one accord, you know, even if it's just for a minute and just for a day. Any chance you get for outside groups to be on the same page about a concept, a core concept like freedom or love or things like that, you can't lose.
And then being here in Nashville, the fact that for years we celebrated Juneteenth with the African Alliance Committee in the dark on the side, you know, now it's a full-fledged event. So yeah, I think that not only justified it for Black people, you know, as a holiday, and it also makes it more awareness for everyone else, because now you want to know what it means, what it's about.
My name is Marita, and the name of my poem is Ghetto Dreams. I walk around with ghetto dreams, pouring from my heart, bursting at the seams. Braided to my scalp, adorned with precious beads, I walk around with ghetto dreams. Money in my mattress, eyes to the stars, no mule, no acres, I'm not sure I'll make it very far. Born by a river that was siphoned into a stream, dried up and deemed useless by people who refuse to see. I'm praying daily that my children can achieve what's tucked away into my little ghetto dreams. Laughter, cocoa butter, spades and double dutch, blue Kool-Aid, grandma's love, and God coming in clutch. Bonnets outside that protect my mind and my hair. No respectability politics for me to even care. Free to be a doctor or a dancer at the club. Free to be a mother or none of the above. Free to breathe deeply and express my faith through anything. When I close my eyes and sleep, I'm living out these ghetto dreams. No wrong, no right, not a monolith in sight. Just a little too loud, my aura a little too bright. No need to be proper, refined, or fall in line. Moving authentically, spreading my wings, taking off to fly. So when they may say that I'm too hood, and even tell me all the things that I should do, I'll drift away into my tiny fantasy of living out my most cherished ghetto dreams.
I bought in, something out the cold, wasn't prepared for it. Therefore, expensive lesson learned, had to care for it, pay for it. Easy credit rip-off, interest rates going up with my price, the upliftment. Ducked off in the corner, fear commitment. With the heart of a warrior, young and victorious. From the school to the prison pipeline, he didn't listen. Give him hell, sell him heaven high, that's the story for us. Some pass away, let us multiply, put some cash away. Can't take it to the other side, leave it for family. Feeling like God paint pictures, creating galaxies. Manipulating time, ideas in the salaries. Transform realities. We back on them. College student style, put the pack on them. Black cat on them, black gat on them. Huey Newton, black out on them. Birth of a nation. $1 trillion budget be the culmination. Tired of begging, borrowing, being patient. You can have tomorrow, but right now, we concentrate on pearly gates, judge and finding out the destination. Court case poverty stricken. What they play on, player. Play on. Young hustler, stay strong. Revelation, Moses in the cloud, space station. Communicating with the God in me, illuminating. Take a sip from this cup, young punk, rejuvenate them recipe. Cook with big fella, you can make it. Butt naked, born with nothing. The snake still, plotting in the garden, sister, stay still. They will creep up on you, get in you, nut venom, crush linen in. Reptilian skin, everything killing them. Women, children, men. Generational genocide, free the citizens, power to the people.
Freedom ain't free. I know that. Freedom to me means the ability to be who you are and not have to sacrifice your integrity, your spirit, or your honor just to live in this world. I know it's a price for freedom.
Juneteenth feels like a revelation.
Sometimes Blackness is synonymous with a lot of different, both positive and negative ideas and projections and stereotypes. And so it's a constant, for me, kind of push and pull between being what is society's respectable Black person and what's just being myself and what's honoring the natural human experience that everybody has.
If you were to ask me do I believe that all African Americans, Black people, Indigenous people are free, I would say no, because we don't have the ability to just be. It's always a condition.
A look backwards to look forward.
Working to make sure and ensure that me and my family have the options, the freedom to choose what it is that we want to do, what we enjoy doing, and not have obstacles or things that prevent us from doing those things. If we're wanting to pursue the happiness that life in this country what it can be, then it's like we need that freedom, we need that room to actually exert.
Feels like a family reunion.
Part of the reason why Juneteenth is important is because, one, it helps our kids understand the struggle of the Black American family. Like, you have to put that into concept. You were a slave for 2 years, and you could have just walked away, and they didn't, because no one, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one even explained it to them.
The last to be first, first to be last.
And so I'm consistently trying to live in an authentic place, which I think honors my Blackness, of loving the roots of both my African roots and my Caribbean roots, and figuring out, okay, what that is, and what did my ancestors eat, and what did they sing, and how did they pray, and how did they dance, and how did they enjoy themselves, while also honoring the modern version of what it means to be Black, which is just living and navigating everyday life and recognizing that it's not a monolith. And as long as I'm just being myself and teaching my children to love themselves and that radical love and existing in that, I feel like that's celebrating my Blackness every day.
Being free is knowledge. Being free is having acceptance of who you are. And being free is being able to express yourself and live without any consequences.
Uncharted territory, newly found land, newly found concepts that's always been there. You know how you find something that's always been there? That's the American way. It feel like that.
Being obligated as a descendant of a U.S. colored troop soldier, I carry a different type pride with me because they fought for the freedoms we could not enjoy during a tumultuous time in our nation. So it's my obligation to carry that seed and plant it wherever I go, and young as well as the old. I have the opportunity and the blessing to share local history, and it is part of my legacy here in Nashville. This poem is entitled Fort Negley. Fort Negley. You were built by the hands of the oppressed and some men free. Your craftsmanship remains for future generations to see. Your foundation was built with stone, wood, and railroad steel as you majestically sit upon St. Cloud Hill. Once a Union stronghold, standing tall and bold, through countless decades, your remains became tattered and old. The sounds of the bugle rally the troops no more. Just the echoes of a divided past we must not ignore. You whisper silently now from your vibrant past, making your treasures known as we humbly unmask. There is a rebirth in you now for the ages to see, handed from our ancestors, their legacy to be. You're in our hands now, a task certainly not forsaken. For the city of Nashville, we all have gallantly taken. You fortify our thoughts in your new beginning, leaving your mark for the future to see. Once a mighty fortress in the heart of our city, a place called Fort Negley.
What you mean I'm free and nobody told me? 740 days of freedom and ain't nobody said nothing to me about being free. So what you mean I'm free and nobody told me? My mama got moved to the big house when I was 5 years old. I don't see her that often, but 200 days ago, we was down at the well at the same time, and she told me how much she loved me and that she was gonna bring us a pie for Easter, and she lived up there with Master, so she know everything. She hear everything, and she ain't said nothing to me about being free. So what you mean I'm free and nobody told me? Henry got 16 lashes about 500 days ago for stealing corn and stashing it in the barn house. I asked him, why you stealing corn? He said he was going to run away to freedom. He was going to a place called Oklahoma, where black people got houses and stores and stuff. And I said, you lying. And you know, Henry can read. He reads the publications, he tells us what's going on, and that man ain't say nothing to me about being free. So what you mean I'm free and nobody told me? I went down to the market with Mr., and that was about 300 days ago. We sat there all day selling pies and cakes and corn, and I seen everybody. Miss Daisy walked up to me. I seen Miss Josephine, and ain't nobody say nothing to me about being free. So what you mean I'm free and nobody told me? Now, about 3 days ago, these big black men rolled in on the farm, and they was on these horses, and they had these fancy suits with medals and charms. And he said he wanted all us to get together because he had an announcement to make. And we stood there like good servants, and he said that the President of the United States of America signed a paper that say we was free. So I said, what you mean I'm free? And nobody told me. He said, you free to go. You are no longer a slave. We looked around. So I stepped up real nicely and I said, what you mean I'm free? And nobody told me. My name is Just Bam, and the name of the poem that I did is What You Mean I'm Free.
Personally, how I celebrate Juneteenth, I don't even have a personal Juneteenth. My personal Juneteenth is the city's Juneteenth.
On one end, I might be helping some of the Juneteenth things. I've signed up, so I'm excited about celebrating at Fort Negley, but also not doing no other type of work, okay? Because I feel like that's just anti-Black on the Day of Freedom.
Honestly, I'm damn near celebrating all year long, trying to raise the money to put these fireworks and stuff on for the city and for the community, because it's a beautiful thing, you know? We celebrate by getting a whole bunch of people together on one accord, families, multi-generational. You got grandmas, grandkids, fathers, uncles, great-grandmothers all coming together at Fort Negley, which is this super historical, you know, the people that died and fought and lived out there that were kind of just forgotten about. It's in remembrance of, you know. So we gather a bunch of people to come and remember the people that came before us and fought for freedom, and we honor them. We do these loud-ass fireworks that wake them up. Boom, boom, boom. If it's something out there, we waking it up, you know? So that's how we celebrate. That's how I personally celebrate. My family's out there with me, my friends, and all my fellow Nashvillians and people from all over that come, man. That's how we celebrate.
Also, really taking the time to continue to teach my children, any nieces or nephews that are around, about what this experience is and learning more about it for myself so I can, you know, adequately and accurately dispense information.
I like to celebrate Juneteenth with my people, you know. I'm all about the parade. I'm all about the event in the park. I'm all about the celebration. I'm all about the barbecue. I think that Juneteenth should get just as much celebratory flavor and corporate sponsorship and endowment as the 4th of July.
And then I love a good cookout. So figuring out where the cookout is at and finding ways to just have fun, right? And not putting pressure on myself during that day, during that week, that weekend, and finding ways to reclaim that natural ability to just exist and knowing that that existence is enough.
Peace, everyone. Just wanted to say hello and wish you a happy Juneteenth celebration.